Hi, this is Todd Walters, Millionaire Agent Maker, and you're listening to the Craig Proctor Podcast.
Hi, this is Craig Proctor on our podcast. Today, I am interviewing the man, Todd Walters. Todd, how you doing today? I was going to say the legend. I was going to say the man, the legend.
The legend, yeah. Legend in my own mind.
Straight from Atlanta, Georgia. Todd, share with everybody a little bit about you and I, how we met, and how cool this relationship has been.
Yeah, it's a great story, really. So I'm just a kid. Like I'm in my early 20s. I just got my real estate license, and I'm really trying to make this business go. Failure's not an option. I'm living in my father-in-law's basement because my previous business that I had talked my grandmother into loaning me $40,000 to buy, a pizza business, had failed after 3 years. So I owe her all that money back.
So you're telling me your training for real estate is you owned a pizza place?
That's right, yeah.
It didn't go well.
No, it didn't. I realized,
but you must be a pretty good salesperson, yes, because you talked your grandmother into loaning you the money for it.
Yeah. Well, let's face it. I'm in college. I'm 19. I don't like it. I'm not showing up much to college. So I go to my dad. Hey, why don't we get one of these Primo's pizza franchises? Talk to the lady in the family that has all the money, my grandma. So sat down with her. She said, yeah, I'll loan you $40,000 if that's what you want to do. Just make sure you pay me back, and here's the interest rate. So I'm like, hey, no problem. So I go all in on this thing, and in 3 years into it, when I'm 21, 22 years old, it's
not going anywhere.
It ain't going like it's going the other way. So I'm out of it, and I'm in tremendous debt. I have to move into my father-in-law's base. Thank God, my wife was a flight attendant with Delta, so we could be eating.
So she's got a real job.
Yeah, she's got a real job. So I did what most people do, or a lot of people do, when things don't work out so well for them. I got my real estate license.
Perfect.
So anyway, I got my license, and I jumped right into RE/MAX, and I'm at the RE/MAX office. And about a year into this thing, I'm like, man, I'm working really hard. Just trying to failure's not an option. Got to get out of my father-in-law's basement. Got my grandmother I got to pay back, and all this other debt. And so I go to my broker, and I'm like, look, man, there's got to be something better than what's going on right here. And he goes, well, you got to work hard, if you want to be successful. And I'm like, hey, is there anybody at this real estate office, old or young? I'm the youngest guy there. Is there anybody that works harder than me? He goes, no, nobody works harder than you. I said, okay, so I got that down. So what's the issue? He goes, well, I don't know, it is not. I said, well, I really got into this. I thought I could make over $1 million a year.
Right. That's what you believed.
Yeah, I believed it. I believed it. And I believed that you needed that just to create some freedom for yourself in life. Now, maybe I was naive. I was in my early 20s. My broker looked at me. He laughed. Nobody does that, kind of thing. And in his world, and where I was in Georgia, he's right, nobody did that. So I'm looking through the magazines, and there's the number one RE/MAX right there. You're number one RE/MAX agent in the world. Right there. It's right there.
Well, this guy's doing it.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, he's doing it. So I do some, navigating, and I end up right there early on when you were putting the Quantum Leap system together, started doing seminars, and
what year would this be?
Oh my goodness, this is early 90s. And when you were RE/MAX, you were number one for RE/MAX in the early 90s.
So that's how you heard about it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I'm a RE/MAX agent. You're the number one RE/MAX agent. So I'm like, why don't I just copy the number one RE/MAX agent?
Now, you were at one of the very first seminars I think I ever did up in Toronto.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Royal York Hotel, downtown Toronto. I borrowed the money to get there from my mom. And
so you've tapped out grandma, now you're working on mom.
Yeah, now I'm working on mom. And at this point, I haven't paid grandma back any money yet. So my uncles and my dad's like, hey, you better get your act together. So anyway, it was profound. There were 4 big things that I took away at that super conference. I don't even think you had the coaching program together yet. You had just started this seminar process. So I consider myself fortunate to be there early and to take these things back to Georgia, put them to work, and essentially be first, just like you were first with unique selling propositions, a sales team, inside sales agents, direct response marketing, less branded marketing. I'm putting that stuff together back in Georgia, first in the marketplace. And
so you get excited and you go back home and you actually just dive right into this. You're implementing exactly what I said to do. You just go back home and do it.
Absolutely, I did it. People at the RE/MAX office are making, who are you to guarantee? You can't guarantee anything. What do you mean your home sold guaranteed? And,
what is this guy doing?
What is this ad? What is this ad, that doesn't even have your name on it? Where's the RE/MAX balloon and all that kind of stuff? And but the more I did of it, the more business I got from it, and my clients were happier as well. It seemed like they trusted me more the more different I was from the other real estate agents out there. So
what happened, like, let's say in the first year after meeting me and going back home and implementing this, what happened to your business?
I remember I was probably, working 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, just to grind out,
like you're an honest guy, a hardworking guy. You're trying your very best, just wasn't working. But you come back and you implement this stuff. And what were the big changes?
Yep. So, monetarily, money-wise, that was the big change. Okay, so like my first year when I jumped into Craig Proctor coaching level, my first year, I added $750,000.
Whoa, that's big numbers.
In income to my business. Then,
so that took some of the pressure off.
Yeah. I was earning over $1 million a year in commissions with the Craig Proctor system before my first daughter was born. And I think she's, at the time we're doing this podcast, 24 years old.
Right.
So that was pretty cool. So obviously I was able to pay my grandmother back and elevate my lifestyle, build a great real estate sales team because, it needed to take care of all the customers.
So that took off some of the pressure. You got a little room now. To maneuver.
And then the rest was just history. It was just basically, I remember getting an award or something from RE/MAX, being the number one RE/MAX guy in that part of the world at that moment in time. And I remember getting an award, talking to my broker about it. I think we were doing between 400 or 500 homes at that moment a year. My next closest competitor was at like 80 or something. So
That's
they were
amazing.
doing pretty good.
You're at 400, the next competitor's at 80.
Yeah, they were in this RE/MAX. There were
cool.
literally over 200 agents at this one office.
So you just came out of nowhere. People had no idea, what is this guy doing?
And,
where did he come from?
Yeah, and I was always amazed. I was always amazed at the number of agents that would not. Like, it wasn't a secret.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact,
why aren't they doing what you do?
One of the RE/MAX guys that was giving out awards one time at the RE/MAX thing called me the Craig Proctor of the South. And I was always amazed that more of the agents wouldn't do what I did.
Kind of a no-brainer.
Just get on a plane, go see you, call you up, say, hey, can I copy you? And you allowing me to legally, put what you did in your business to work
basically
in my life.
Just took what I did and franchised it in Atlanta. You just basically, it was like a franchise. The prototype, you just did exactly what I was doing.
I think that's the key element here, is that the first moment I met you, I'd already bought a Primo's Pizza franchise when I was a kid, right? When I was 19. So I understood this concept of franchise.
Proven systems, right?
I was at RE/MAX, which they had a franchise. So when I hooked up with you, I was like, hey, this is a super profitable sales team business franchise, essentially, that I was getting from Craig Proctor. So I looked at that. So I felt like it was my duty to copy everything, not some of it, but everything. Like, if I wanted to be like you, okay, from a business standpoint, what were my options? Either I nibbled around the edges or did some of it, or I went all in. And so I made a decision long time ago just to go all in with everything you did. And because I pestered you a lot over those years.
Well, look, obviously you were a great student. You went back, you implemented it right away. But the results didn't stop there, man. You just kept stacking up those sales and those numbers. Talk to us about what happened over the next couple of years.
Yep. So as there was how it works. Every successful business, they have their run. Okay, so there was about a decade-long run of literally making seven-figure incomes, piling the money, and being able to do other things like support some and get involved in some great worthy causes. I was able to coach full-time, high-level, fast-pitch softball. My kid was into that.
Well, that's important that everyone hears this because you coached your daughter all the way through since she started baseball, at 4 or 5 years old?
It's actually a really good story, and it has a lot of lessons in it. Okay, so I'm really busy real estate agent at the time when my wife brings my daughter home. She's 4 years old, and it says, "Hey, I signed Morgan up for softball." And I'm like, "They play softball when they're 4 years old, you know?" So I go to my first softball game, right? And that was what I was thinking when she brought her home. I was like, well, I really like working. I love real estate. I like building this business. I got to go to softball games. So I guess I got to make time for that, you know? So of course you do as a father, you try. I went to my first softball game, and you know how it works when they're little. They're running backwards around the bases and they're drawing in the sand and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, oh, I guess I got to go coach now. So I jumped into it, started coaching when she was literally 4 years old. And then somewhere around, 7, 8, 9, 10, you figure out, okay, this kid's pretty good. So
get some talent,
you get a little bit more involved in it, and we elevated the level of play. And I remember when I was at her very last game before she was going off to play ball in college, I remember being at that last game, giving her a big hug. I'm crying because I realized, it's very emotional for me.
You've been with her all through this.
Oh, yeah. And I'm thinking, as I'm doing it, I'm like, oh, my goodness. I'm here at the very last game, and I was there at the very first one all those years ago when she was 4, and now she's 18. I said, and I've never missed a game in literally 60, 70 games a summer, and never missed
amazing.
one. All while the business was growing, to hundreds of home sales a year.
How many realtors at your level could say that?
Yeah.
It's what you miss out on in real estate when you don't have the right systems in place. I was reading something from a minister. He was talking about giving last rites to people on their deathbeds. And, I'm interested, like, what is it that people say when they're on their deathbeds? And he says, it's not what you think. It's not the, people aren't really regretting what they did in their lives. What they're regretting are the things that they didn't do in their lives. It's the sins of omission. And we see so many real estate agents that give their lives up to this. I mean, they're literally trading their lives for their real estate career, and most of them aren't even doing that well. I mean, man, it's a bad trade. But here you are, you had this success, but you also had the time. And really that's what this is all about. It's about freedom. The reason we get into real estate, many of us by default, like you and I, is what we really are looking for is freedom. To get the freedom, you got to have the money, and you've got to have the time. And that's what your real estate enterprise, I'm not going to call it a job, I'm not even going to call it a business. You took what I created, and you brought it back to Atlanta, and you created an enterprise. Not only did you create that financial freedom and that time freedom that you desired for you and your family, you were able to create that for all the people that worked in your business and on your team. You sold thousands of houses, like about 8,000 houses in your career. You sold $1 billion worth of real estate. There are not many real estate agents on this planet that have sold $1 billion of real estate. So obviously, I see that this Todd Walters is a student, and a serious student of the Craig Proctor system. So when I started rolling out the coaching program, and the seminars and the coaching are going great, we're expanding this, we realized that there's a level of agents that want something more. We've got agents now that have grown their business, and they're selling hundreds of houses just like Todd and I every year. And we decided we're going to start the next level in coaching. So after you're through our coaching, you can apply to be a platinum member. And if you remember that, this is just this idea I had. Let's do a high level, a real high level coaching program that's by application only. So I've got a sizable database of clients at this point. This is in 2004. And I send an email out to my very top students, guys like Todd Walters, and I say, look, we're going to do this, I'm thinking of doing this platinum program for elite agents. Elite training, agents that want to make millions of dollars, sell hundreds of homes a year. And like, you're one of those guys. Are you interested? Well, boom, you were all over it. And if you remember, we started with 40. There was 40 of us.
I remember.
And it worked really, really well. And the initial members, that first 40, they all go on and have outstanding real estate careers. And I'm saying, who can help me with this? Of the 40 that are here, who can I tap on the shoulder? Who can helped me take this thing to the next level. And that guy's name was Todd Walters. And I saw something in Todd Walters that I'm not even sure Todd saw in himself. And it was a great draft pick, man. You've been a great asset to me and my business, and we've had a lot of fun together. We've helped tens of thousands of agents, and we've grown this thing big time. You know, Todd, you and I are sitting right now in Anaheim, California, and we just finished our coaching and platinum meeting. We finished that yesterday. We had about 800 agents in the room. This thing keeps growing and growing and growing. People come up to us and they say, thank you. You changed my life. That is so gratifying. Of course, Todd and I, we get paid to do this. We get paid handsomely to do this, but we made a lot of money selling houses. But this is different. You know, in all those houses that you sold, 8,000 houses, sold 10,000 houses, we didn't have people coming up to us saying, hey man, you changed my life. But we get that kind of satisfaction every single day. It feels pretty cool. You know, Todd, when people come up to you and they say, hey man, I just want to tell you a story, and they pull you aside and they say, you know, Todd, I got to tell you how you've helped me, not just in my real estate business, but I got a better marriage now. I got my health back. I don't worry about money. I have a better relationship with my kids. I'm able to give back to my community. I'm able to be myself and do the things I really want to do. You know, you and I really get excited with that. I mean, that's what really gets us up in the morning. And you and I are talking every day about this. How can we do this better? How can we help people? How can we make a bigger difference in their lives? And we are getting better. We're getting better at this. We're growing this thing. And we're getting a lot of help, of course, from the agents that have been with us for many years. We've helped them, and they're helping us as well. So if this interests you, if you'd like to get more information on what Todd and I do, because we create millionaires. That's what this is really about. Nobody in the real estate industry has created more millionaire real estate agents than Todd Walters and I. And we'll challenge anybody on this. The very top agents in the real estate industry are in the Craig Proctor system. Okay, and they've got Todd Walters, they've got Craig Proctor, and they've got the very top people in the industry helping them. Why don't you name drop some of the people right now that have been our clients for some of them 5, 10, or 15 years?
Yeah, I'm amazed by them because I remember meeting them. You know, like when you meet these people, they're sitting in the same seat that I was, like you said, way back in the early and mid 90s when you're doing your first conferences. I remember sitting in that seat, and that's when you first meet them. So like yesterday, we handed out a special award. We call it our Top Dog Award. We give it out every year. This year we gave it out to, like Lewis and Shelley Salas. And, they're military veterans down there in Texas around the Fort Hood area. And and when I met them at the very first conference, I think it was about 7 years ago, okay? They were doing absolutely zero resales. Hadn't sold a single resale. It was all REO business.
Amazing.
And they hated it. They hated it because commissions were going down. The banks were putting pressure on them, bullying them, telling them what to do, how to do it. So they were here because they wanted to get out of it, okay?
Well, so they're tired of working with the banks, tired of the REO stuff.
So essentially, they were doing decent with the REO business, but not really making the life that they wanted to make, right? So they go from not having any like residential resale business to this year, they did over 700 home sales.
From 0 to 700 transactions.
Just in a few years with the Craig Proctor system. So I've watched them do that, obviously, but they employ, a couple of dozen people as a result of that. And they gave away about $100,000 this year.
That's cool.
Just to their local military charities.
People hear this and they're skeptical. It's almost like they don't believe it. But we've got members like Rudy Casumo, who was the #1 RE/MAX agent in the state of California, number 3 or 4, I believe, in the United States for RE/MAX. And this guy gives away tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. And this is not unique. We have such huge givers because they're living in abundance. They're doing so well themselves. They're able to really wrap their arms around these worthy causes, these things that are so important to them. Give us a few more examples of that.
Yeah, you mentioned Rudy. When I've met Rudy, it was him and his wife, and they had to send their kids back to Indonesia to live with his family because he couldn't figure out how to take care of them here.
He was working so hard, he had no time for his son at all.
And that was just, 7 or 8 years ago. Now, like you said, I think he may do 800 home sales this year.
Amazing.
Right out here in the California area from where we are right now.
And Rudy's a guy that came to the United States, hardly spoke English. He came here to go to school. I think he was going to be like a nuclear scientist or something, but totally unrelated to anything to do with sales. Got into real estate like many of us by accident and is a superstar.
Yes, he does. He goes back to Indonesia now and plants field hospitals for eye care and checkups.
He gives money to build wells and schools.
Yes, exactly. So Sarah Reynolds, as we record this, arguably one of the, number one for Keller Williams probably in the world right now. Sarah, when I met her, it was just her and her mom. And that was 9 years ago. Just her and her mom figuring out how to sell real estate, okay? 9 years later, she's doing around $1 million in commissions a month. And she's a big supporter of
$1 million a month.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not in sales now. That's income. So she gave this past year in charities over $210,000. I've seen the checks. As a matter of fact, one charity, the Fisher House, which is one of the greatest charities in the world today, right there in Washington area, supporting military families. She gave them $150,000.
That's cool.
This year. So of course they love her they love her real estate business, and she loves the Craig Proctor system.
Yeah. And we love them all, man. We've got such great supporters. We do 6 big events a year. Todd and I do 6 big events a year, and they come out to them all. Our top members do not miss these events. And, Todd and I joke around like they're not even coming to see us anymore. They're coming to see each other. They're best friends. I mean, really, our members meet such great friends, deep relationships with all the other members. They talk to each other, on a regular basis. And that's what it's all about. I mean, we've really, we're fortunate. We have been able to attract the very best real estate agents in the country, and with their support, we've continued to grow this thing. And you and I just have a great time making it bigger and better and growing it.
Yeah, I don't know what you've done here with the culture, but the sharing. We mentioned these people. You would think that there might be some scarcity mindset or something like. It's the opposite. You know how I remember when I was at my RE/MAX office there back in the day, 15 years. Nothing against it was a really good real estate company, and the guys were really good there. But the agents didn't get together and share what was working and how things were working.
Right. If they had a good idea, they tried to keep that to themselves.
Yeah, they didn't want to say anything about it. But here, while we're here at the conference, virtually every break and every evening, the agents, all these guys that we're talking about, these are top real estate agents in the world today. They're getting together, masterminding and sharing, and they have no problems. Matter of fact, they volunteer to get on stage and share.
To help each other.
Yes. Yeah. So during our networking events and cocktail parties we have, these guys are walking around to the people that are here for the first time at a Craig Proctor event, sharing with them their experiences, what's working, what to do, what not to do. Just the level of sharing and giving, it's amazing. And I don't see that really happening, in other places.
We hear it all the time. The Craig Proctor members are the best sharers. That people, I was in this coaching program or I was with this company, but man, when I got involved with Craig Proctor, you guys are the best sharers. The agents here, they don't hold anything back, they share. And I want to finish off, that's the idea with these podcasts. So what we want to do is we want to go around the filters. We want to go directly to you and provide you content directly from the top real estate agents in North America. Too much of the information, we believe, going to real estate agents, I'm going to be honest, it's weak. We think it's weak. We think a lot of it is like motivational. It's, you're really getting a lot of general ideas, and what you need is specifics. What you really need to learn to be successful are the specifics of exactly how to do things. Now, because so many of the coaches, so much of what you hear is coming from people that have never actually successfully made millions of dollars. That's why it doesn't work very well, in our opinion. We want to interview the very top real estate agents in North America, uncensored, and get this information directly to the agents on the streets, to you folks that are in the trenches every day selling real estate. Todd and I were in the trenches every day. For over 20 years, every day, Todd and I were considered two of the top real estate agents in the history of real estate. We understand this game. We understand how tough it can be. We both struggled in the beginning. We both succeeded, and we want to share our success. And so do our top members. So that's our mission. Our mission is we're going to go around the filters. We're going to go directly to you with the best information from the most successful real estate agents that are in the trenches every day, successfully doing the thing that you want to do. So I want to thank everybody for listening, for watching this, and hopefully you'll tune into the very next Craig Proctor podcast. Thank you very much for doing this today, Todd Walters. You are a superstar.
It's absolutely my pleasure. Thank you.